Watch how big he is when he comes out, though. Woo!
Nature's beauty often masks its deadly potential. Throughout history, humans have shared the planet with creatures capable of both awe-inspiring feats and terrifying attacks.
Woman who was found dead with a python wrapped around her neck.
Tonight, the Benton County coroner confirms today that Laura Hurst was strangled by the snake.
From the wild to the domestic, animals remind us of their unpredictability in the most horrifying ways.
No, get out!
This list explores 20 chilling cases of lives tragically lost to animal encounters, showcasing the fragile balance between humanity and the natural world's untamed power.
On February 16, 2009, I was attacked and mauled by my boss's chimpanzee.
Send the police!
What's the problem?
The chimp killed my friend! He ripped her face off, please! He killed her!
Steve Irwin, 2006. Steve Irwin, affectionately known as the Crocodile Hunter, captivated the world with his daring wildlife encounters and boundless enthusiasm for nature conservation.
G'day, I'm Steve Irwin, and these are highly venomous sea kraits.
His sudden and tragic death on September 4th, 2006 sent shockwaves around the globe. Irwin was fatally pierced in the chest by a stingray barb while filming an underwater documentary titled Ocean's Deadliest in Australia's Great Barrier Reef. Irwin was snorkeling in shallow waters when the incident occurred. The crew was filming stingrays for a segment, with Irwin observing one closely. Stingrays are generally docile creatures and rarely attack unless provoked. However, as Irwin swam over the animal, it unexpectedly lashed out, driving its venomous barb into his chest. The injury punctured his heart, causing massive trauma. Despite the crew's desperate attempts to resuscitate him, Irwin was pronounced dead shortly after. The accident shocked the world as Irwin was widely beloved for his infectious charisma and deep passion for wildlife education. Known for his catchphrases like "crikey" and his fearless approach to dangerous animals, Irwin had become a global icon for conservation.
Like a bully!
His death sparked an outpouring of grief, with tributes pouring in from fans, celebrities, and leaders worldwide. The Australian government honored him with a state memorial service attended by thousands. Irwin's passing also brought attention to stingrays, creatures often misunderstood despite their typically passive behavior. Some feared a backlash against these animals, but Irwin's family quickly emphasized his belief in respecting all wildlife, urging people to honor his legacy by protecting the natural world. Timothy Treadwell and Amy Huguenard, 2003. Timothy Treadwell and Amy Huguenard's deaths in October 2003 remain one of the most infamous examples of the dangers posed by wildlife. The couple was fatally mauled by a grizzly bear in Alaska's Katmai National Park, a tragic conclusion to Treadwell's years of living among and documenting bears.
Well, the expedition coming close to a close, but I'm still, of course, here. It's tough work. Take care of these animals. Take care of this land.
Their story was later immortalized in Werner Herzog's documentary Grizzly Man. Treadwell, a self-styled bear advocate, spent 13 summers camping in Katmai, living in close proximity to grizzlies. He passionately believed that his presence could foster understanding between humans and bears. While Treadwell gained recognition for his captivating footage and advocacy, many experts criticized his approach, warning that his proximity to the animals was both reckless and dangerous. In October 2003, Treadwell and Huguenard, his girlfriend and frequent companion, were in Katmai during a particularly risky time. Most bears were in a state of heightened aggression, preparing for hibernation. On October 5th, a bear attacked their campsite. Audio recordings captured the harrowing moments of their deaths, with Treadwell attempting to fight off the bear while Huguenard screamed for help. Both were killed and partially consumed. When park rangers arrived, they found a bear still guarding the site. The animal was euthanized, and an autopsy revealed human remains in its stomach. The incident shocked the public, sparking debates about Treadwell's methods and the ethics of wildlife interactions. Werner Herzog's Grizzly Man offered an unflinching look at Treadwell's life and death, using his own footage to explore his complex personality and controversial beliefs. Critics saw Treadwell as misguided, while supporters admired his dedication to protecting grizzlies. Dawn Bronchot, 2010. Dawn Bronchot, a highly skilled and experienced trainer at SeaWorld Orlando, tragically lost her life on February 24, 2010, during a routine interaction with an orca named Tilikum. Her death, witnessed by park visitors and staff, brought international attention to the ethical and safety issues surrounding marine mammal captivity and performance-based interactions. Bronchot was one of SeaWorld's most respected trainers, known for her dedication and deep bond with the orcas she worked with. On the day of the incident, she was performing a post-show interaction with Tilikum, the largest orca in SeaWorld's collection. Known for his size and history of aggression, Tilikum had previously been involved in 2 other human fatalities. During the interaction, Tilikum grabbed Bronchot by her ponytail and pulled her into the water. Witnesses described the attack as prolonged and violent, with the orca dragging her underwater and thrashing her around.
We were the witnesses. We were the ones that notified them of what happened. We were in there for a good 20-25 minutes before we were escorted out. We saw the whole thing.
Despite the efforts of other trainers to intervene, Bronchot suffered fatal injuries, including drowning and blunt force trauma. The tragedy shocked the world and spurred an outcry against marine parks. Critics argued that orcas, highly intelligent and social animals, should not be kept in captivity, where their natural behaviors are stifled and stress can lead to aggression. Bronchot's death also reignited discussions about Tilikum's past, as he had been linked to the deaths of a trainer in Canada in 1991 and a trespasser who entered his enclosure in 1999. In response to the incident, SeaWorld implemented significant changes to its practices. Trainers were no longer allowed in the water with orcas during performances, and safety barriers and protocols were enhanced. However, the event also intensified the broader debate about the ethics of keeping orcas in captivity. Documentaries like Blackfish 2013 brought Bronchot's story to an even wider audience, painting a grim picture of Tilikum's life in captivity and the psychological toll on orcas in marine parks. The impact of Bronchot's death extended beyond SeaWorld. It spurred legislative action, including California's 2016 ban on orca performances and breeding in captivity. SeaWorld eventually announced the end of its orca breeding program in 2016, signaling a shift in how the industry addresses the welfare of marine mammals. Alexander I of Greece, 1920. The unexpected death of Alexander I of Greece on October 25, 1920, stands as one of the most unusual and tragic incidents in royal history. The young king succumbed to sepsis after being bitten by a Barbary macaque, a domesticated monkey kept on the royal estate. His death had profound political ramifications, plunging Greece into turmoil during a critical period. Alexander became king in 1917 during a politically charged era. With his father, King Constantine I, deposed due to his pro-German sympathies during World War I, Alexander was seen as a puppet monarch under the control of Prime Minister Eleftherios Venizelos. Despite his limited authority, Alexander worked to modernize Greece and navigate its involvement in the Greco-Turkish War. The incident that led to his death occurred on September 30, 1920, while Alexander was walking in the royal gardens near Athens. He encountered one of his pet Barbary macaques, which became aggressive and bit him on the hand. In attempting to defend himself, Alexander was bitten again, sustaining deep wounds. The bites were initially treated as minor, but the lack of proper medical care led to a severe infection. Over the following weeks, Alexander's condition deteriorated as sepsis spread through his body. Despite multiple surgeries, the infection could not be controlled, and the young king died at the age of 27. His death shocked the nation, not only for its bizarre cause but also for its far-reaching consequences. Alexander's untimely passing created a power vacuum during a period of political instability. The monarchy's absence weakened Venizelos' government, ultimately contributing to his defeat in the elections later that year. The return of King Constantine I, facilitated by Alexander's death, marked a significant shift in Greek politics and the ongoing Greco-Turkish War. Marius Els, 2011. Marius Els, a South African farmer, tragically lost his life in November 2011 to an animal he considered a beloved pet, a 1.2-ton hippopotamus named Humphrey. This unusual and devastating incident highlighted the inherent dangers of attempting to domesticate wild animals, particularly one as notoriously aggressive as the hippopotamus. Els, a former Army major, had raised Humphrey from the age of 5 months after rescuing him as a calf. He often described Humphrey as his son and even built a custom pond on his property to accommodate the growing animal. Over the years, Els formed what he believed to be a close bond with the hippo, feeding and interacting with him daily. Photos of Els riding Humphrey's back or playfully swimming with him became a sensation, drawing public attention to their unusual relationship. Despite their apparent connection, Humphrey's natural instincts remained intact. Hippopotamuses are among Africa's most dangerous animals, responsible for more human fatalities annually than lions or crocodiles. Known for their territorial nature and unpredictable aggression, they can run at surprising speeds and possess powerful jaws capable of crushing bones. Els's neighbors and local wildlife experts had repeatedly warned him about the risks of keeping Humphrey, citing previous incidents of aggression. On one occasion, Humphrey had chased golfers at a nearby course, and there were reports of him attacking other animals. Els dismissed these concerns, insisting that his bond with Humphrey made the animal different. Tragically, on the day of the incident, Humphrey turned on Els. The details remain unclear, but reports indicate that the hippo dragged Els into the river and fatally mauled him. Els's body was later found with multiple injuries, consistent with a violent attack. The incident reignited debates about the ethics and safety of keeping wild animals as pets. Experts emphasize that while humans may form attachments to wild animals, their natural behaviors and instincts can never be fully suppressed, especially in animals as unpredictable and powerful as hippos. Taylor Mitchell, 2009. Taylor Mitchell, a rising Canadian folk singer, met a tragic end on October 28, 2009, in a rare and shocking coyote attack while hiking alone in Cape Breton Highlands National Park, Nova Scotia. Her death marked one of the few documented fatal coyote attacks on an adult, drawing widespread attention to the complexities of human-wildlife interactions. At just 19 years old, Mitchell was a promising artist whose music was earning acclaim across Canada. Taking a break from her touring schedule, she decided to explore the scenic Skyline Trail in Cape Breton Highlands, a popular route known for its rugged beauty and abundant wildlife. Hiking solo, Mitchell was equipped with basic supplies but was likely unaware of the potential dangers posed by coyotes in the area. At some point during her hike, Mitchell encountered a pack of coyotes. Unlike their typically shy and reclusive counterparts in other parts of North America, the coyotes in Cape Breton exhibited unusually bold behavior, likely due to a combination of factors, including food scarcity and habituation to humans. The pack attacked Mitchell, causing severe injuries. Nearby hikers heard her screams and rushed to her aid, managing to scare off the animals. Mitchell was airlifted to a hospital in Halifax, but succumbed to her injuries hours later. The attack stunned the public and wildlife experts, as fatal coyote attacks on humans are exceedingly rare. The incident led to immediate action by park authorities, who tracked and euthanized several coyotes believed to be involved in the attack. Wildlife specialists speculated that the coyotes' aggressive behavior might have been influenced by environmental factors, including dwindling prey populations and increased human activity in their habitat.
It's kind of that mourning of a talent. I'm wondering what happened, and it's just, it really is very sad.
Mitchell's death sparked discussions about how humans interact with wildlife, particularly in natural settings. While hikers are generally encouraged to enjoy nature, the incident underscored the importance of being prepared for unexpected encounters with wild animals. Experts emphasized the need for measures such as carrying deterrents, traveling in groups, and remaining vigilant in areas with known wildlife activity. Bethany Lynn Stevens, 2017. The tragic death of 22-year-old Bethany Lynn Stevens in December 2017 sparked widespread controversy and debate about dog behavior and responsible pet ownership. Stevens was found dead in a wooded area near her home in Goochland County, Virginia, with authorities concluding that she was mauled to death by her 2 pit bulls. Stevens had reportedly taken her dogs, Tonka and Pac-Man, out for a walk in the woods. When she failed to return home, her family became concerned and contacted authorities. A search party discovered her body in a gruesome scene with the 2 pit bulls nearby. According to the medical examiner, her injuries were consistent with an animal attack and the cause of death was ruled as severe trauma caused by her dogs. The case drew immediate national attention, with many questioning the circumstances surrounding her death.
We've got new information tonight about the death of a woman who deputies in Goochland say was mauled by her own dogs.
Some speculated that the dogs, which Stevens had raised since they were puppies, could not have been responsible, citing their close bond with her. Friends and family described Stevens as a devoted dog owner who loved her pets deeply. Critics suggested that wild animals or another external factor might have been involved. However, law enforcement and medical experts remained firm in their findings. Goochland County Sheriff James Agnew stated that the dogs exhibited aggressive behavior when officers arrived, which further supported their conclusion. Additionally, the medical examiner's report found no evidence of a third-party animal or human involvement, solidifying the narrative that the dogs had turned on their owner. The incident sparked heated debates about pit bulls, a breed already subject to significant stigma for their perceived aggression. Advocates argued that the breed is often misunderstood and that behavior is shaped more by environment and upbringing than genetics. Others called for stricter regulations on pit bull ownership, citing cases like Stevens's as evidence of the breed's potential danger. The tragedy also raised broader questions about responsible dog ownership. Some experts pointed to the importance of understanding a dog's triggers and ensuring proper training.
Some wonderful pit bulls, and they are really wonderful dogs. However, they are very dangerous, and they need to be handled correctly, and they need to be trained properly.
Especially for breeds with strong physical capabilities. Others suggested that factors like food aggression, illness, or external stressors could have contributed to the attack. Sandra Harold, 2009, the horrifying chimpanzee attack involving Sandra Harold and her friend Charla Nash in February 2009 reignited debates about the ethics and dangers of keeping exotic animals as pets. Harold's pet chimpanzee, Travis, brutally attacked Nash in an incident that left her permanently disfigured and raised significant public and legal concerns about exotic pet ownership. Travis, a 14-year-old, 200-pound chimpanzee, had been part of Harold's life since infancy. Raised in Stamford, Connecticut, the chimp was treated as a surrogate child, wearing clothes, eating at the table, and appearing in television commercials. Harold and Travis shared a close bond, and he was a well-known figure in the local community. However, his strength and unpredictable nature were constant risks, and Harold had faced warnings about keeping such a dangerous animal as a pet. The attack occurred when Nash visited Harold's home. Travis, reportedly agitated, suddenly turned on Nash, launching a brutal assault that lasted several minutes.
Send the police!
No problem.
The chimp killed my friend! He ripped her face off! Please! He killed her! Please!
Using his immense strength, the chimp ripped off Nash's hands, nose, lips, and part of her scalp, leaving her with life-threatening injuries. Harold attempted to intervene, Travis with a kitchen knife, but the chimp continued the attack. Police arrived and fatally shot Travis, but the damage was already done. Nash survived the attack, but was left with severe disfigurement. Her story garnered international attention, especially after her appearance on The Oprah Winfrey Show, where she revealed her injuries and discussed her recovery. Nash later underwent groundbreaking facial transplant surgeries, but her ordeal remained a sobering example of the dangers of exotic animal ownership. The attack sparked immediate backlash against Harold and others who kept exotic pets. Critics argued that wild animals, no matter how domesticated they appear, retain their natural instincts and can become dangerously unpredictable. Connecticut passed stricter laws on exotic pet ownership following the incident, and Nash pursued legal action, ultimately receiving a settlement to support her medical needs. Sandra Harold, who passed away in 2010, expressed deep remorse for the attack and maintained that she never anticipated Travis's violent behavior. Her relationship with the chimp became a focal point for discussions about human-animal boundaries and the ethical considerations of keeping wild animals in domestic settings. Elliot Sensman, 2022. In July 2022, 27-year-old Elliot Sensman, a Pennsylvania man with a passion for reptiles, tragically lost his life after being killed by his 18-foot pet boa constrictor. The incident reignited debates about the risks and responsibilities of owning large exotic reptiles, highlighting the potential dangers posed by these powerful animals. Sensman was a reptile enthusiast who kept multiple snakes at his home, including the boa constrictor involved in the fatal incident. He had reportedly cared for snakes for years and was experienced in handling them. On the day of the attack, Sensman was found unresponsive in his home by first responders. The boa constrictor, still wrapped tightly around his neck, had to be decapitated by emergency personnel to release its grip. Despite their efforts, Sensman succumbed to his injuries shortly after arriving at the hospital. Boa constrictors, native to Central and South America, are non-venomous snakes that kill their prey through constriction. While they are popular among exotic pet owners due to their relatively docile nature when properly handled, their strength can pose serious risks if mishandled or provoked. In this case, it is unclear what triggered the snake's behavior, but experts speculate it may have perceived Sensman's movements as a threat or mistaken him for prey. Sensman's death highlighted the unique challenges of keeping large exotic reptiles. These animals require specific habitats, careful handling, and an understanding of their natural instincts. While many owners develop a sense of familiarity and trust with their pets, incidents like this demonstrate the unpredictability of wild animals, even those bred in captivity. The case also renewed discussions about the regulation of exotic pet ownership. Pennsylvania, like many states, allows the ownership of large reptiles, but lacks consistent oversight or licensing requirements. Critics argue that the lack of stringent regulations increases the likelihood of accidents, both for owners and the broader community. Supporters of exotic pet ownership contend that with proper education and care, incidents like these can be minimized. Laura Hurst, 2019. In October 2019, Laura Hurst, a 36-year-old Indiana woman, was found dead with an 8-foot reticulated python wrapped around her neck. The incident, which occurred in a house housing over 140 snakes, reignited public scrutiny over the keeping of large exotic reptiles as pets and the potential dangers involved. Hurst was a well-known reptile enthusiast who frequently cared for snakes, including the reticulated python that ultimately caused her death. The home where the tragedy occurred belonged to Benton County Sheriff Don Munson, a friend of Hurst who shared her passion for reptiles. The house was specifically designed to house the extensive collection of snakes, although it was not occupied as a residence.
That woman who was found dead with a python wrapped around her neck.
Tonight, the Benton County coroner confirms today that Laura Hurst was strangled by the snake.
On the day of the incident, Hurst was reportedly handling the python when it began constricting her. When she failed to check in as expected, authorities were alerted and found her body with the snake still coiled around her neck. The autopsy confirmed that she had died from asphyxiation caused by the snake's constriction. Reticulated pythons, among the largest snake species in the world, are known for their strength and ability to subdue large prey. While they are often kept as pets due to their striking appearance and manageable temperament when properly cared for, their sheer size and power make them potentially dangerous, particularly in situations where they feel threatened or overstimulated. The incident sparked widespread debate about the ethics and safety of owning large snakes. Critics question the suitability of housing such a large number of snakes in one location, as well as the oversight and training of those handling them.
She may have tripped and fell with the snake and hit her head. We don't know yet.
Others pointed to a lack of stringent regulations in Indiana, where there were no specific laws governing the ownership of large reptiles at the time. Supporters of exotic pet ownership emphasized that most incidents involving snakes result from improper handling or care, and argued that responsible owners should not be penalized for isolated tragedies. However, many agreed that increased education and safety protocols could help prevent similar incidents in the future. Gerald Rushton, 2010. In 2010, Gerald Rushton, a 67-year-old Texas man, was tragically gored to death by his pet deer during the animal's mating season. The shocking incident underscored the inherent risks of keeping wild animals as pets, especially during periods of heightened aggression linked to natural instincts. Rushton, a retired farmer, had raised the deer, a red stag, from a young age. He had a long-standing fascination with wildlife and considered the stag to be part of his family. The animal lived on Rushton's property, often roaming freely in a spacious enclosure. Although domesticated to some degree, the stag retained its natural instincts, particularly during rutting season, when male deer become extremely territorial and aggressive as they compete for dominance and mates. On the day of the incident, Rushton entered the enclosure to feed the deer, as he had done many times before. However, it was mating season, and the stag, driven by heightened testosterone levels, perceived Rushton's presence as a challenge. The animal charged, goring him multiple times with its antlers. Neighbors reported hearing Rushton's cries for help, but by the time assistance arrived, his injuries were too severe and he succumbed to his wounds. The tragedy shocked the local community and reignited debates about the domestication of wild animals. Deer, particularly stags, are known to exhibit unpredictable behavior. Especially during rutting season, wildlife experts stress that even animals raised in captivity retain their natural instincts and can become dangerous under certain conditions.
Keeps in captivity under a high fence or in their residence, an exotic wild animal, they're still dangerous.
Rushton's death also drew attention to the broader risks of keeping wild animals as pets. In many parts of the United States, regulations surrounding the ownership of exotic or wild animals are minimal, leaving room for potential hazards. Critics argue that stricter laws are needed to protect both humans and animals, as domestication often fails to account for an animal's instinctual behaviors. Diane Whipple, 2001. The 2001 death of Diane Whipple, a 33-year-old lacrosse coach from San Francisco, marked one of the most infamous dog attack cases in U.S. history. Whipple was mauled to death by two Presa Canario dogs in the hallway of her apartment building, an attack that led to significant legal and societal repercussions. On January the 26th, Whipple was returning to her apartment when she encountered two Presa Canarios, Bane and Hera, in the care of their owner's roommate Marjorie Knoller. Presa Canarios are a large and powerful breed originally bred for herding and guarding livestock. Bane, in particular, was known to exhibit aggressive tendencies. The dogs, weighing over 100 pounds each, attacked Whipple without warning. Bane latched onto her throat while Hera joined the fray, causing severe injuries. Neighbors heard Whipple's screams and attempted to intervene, but they were unable to stop the attack.
She's been bit by a dog, and I knew exactly what dogs.
Whipple succumbed to her injuries shortly after being transported to the hospital. The case gained national attention, not only because of the brutal nature of the attack, but also due to the controversy surrounding the dog's owners, Marjorie Knoller and her husband, Robert Knoll. Investigations revealed that the couple had acquired the dogs from a prison inmate involved in breeding aggressive animals for illegal activities. Furthermore, Knoller and Knoll had been warned multiple times about the dog's dangerous behavior, but failed to take adequate precautions. The legal proceedings that followed were highly publicized. Knoller became the first person in California to be convicted of second-degree murder for a dog attack, while Knoll faced manslaughter charges. The case highlighted the responsibilities of pet owners and the legal consequences of negligence.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Marjorie Knoller, guilty of the crime of murder in the second degree.
It also spurred legislative changes in California, including stricter regulations on dangerous dog breeds and increased penalties for owners who failed to control their animals. Whipple's death ignited debates about breed-specific legislation, with many advocating for bans on certain aggressive breeds like Presa Canarios. However, others argued that the issue was not the breed itself, but rather the behavior of the owners and their failure to provide proper training and care. Ruth Harkness, 1947. Ruth Harkness, an American fashion designer turned explorer, is best remembered for her pioneering work in wildlife conservation and her efforts to introduce the giant panda to the Western world. Tragically, her life ended in 1947 when she was mauled by a tiger during an expedition in India. Her death was both shocking and symbolic of the dangers faced by those who dedicate their lives to wildlife. Harkness gained fame in the 1930s for her groundbreaking expedition to China, during which she captured and brought the first live giant panda, Su Lin, to the United States. At a time when women were largely excluded from such adventures, Harkness defied societal norms, becoming a trailblazer in wildlife exploration and conservation. Her success sparked widespread fascination with pandas and led to increased awareness of endangered species. Despite her fame, Harkness continued to seek out new adventures, By the 1940s, she had turned her attention to tigers, an animal equally as majestic and endangered as the panda. During an expedition to India in 1947, Harkness sought to study these big cats in their natural habitat. It was during one such outing that she met her untimely end. While details of the incident remain sparse, reports suggest that Harkness was attacked by a tiger while observing it at close range, a testament to the unpredictable nature of wildlife. Harkness's death underscored the risks involved in conservation work and the delicate balance between human curiosity and respect for nature's boundaries. Her passing marked the end of a remarkable life, but her contributions to wildlife conservation have left a lasting legacy. Sue Lin's introduction to the West sparked early efforts to protect pandas and inspired future generations of conservationists. Marcia Hathaway, 1963. Marcia Hathaway's tragic death in 1963 during a shark attack in Middle Harbour, Sydney, shocked Australia and remains one of the most infamous shark-related incidents in the nation's history. Hathaway, a 32-year-old actress, was enjoying a leisurely day at the beach when the unthinkable occurred, marking the last recorded fatal shark attack in Sydney waters until 2022. Hathaway was wading in shallow water with her fiancé and friends at Sugarloaf Bay when a bull shark attacked her. Despite the water being only waist deep, the shark latched onto her right leg, causing catastrophic injuries. Witnesses reported hearing her screams as her companions rushed to her aid. They attempted to pull her to safety, but the shark's grip was unrelenting. Eventually, they managed to free her and bring her to shore. Unfortunately, the damage was too severe. Hathaway suffered massive blood loss, and despite efforts by rescuers and paramedics, she died shortly after. Her death sent shockwaves through Sydney, a city where shark attacks were considered rare, especially in sheltered waters like Middle Harbour. The incident led to widespread fear and prompted authorities to take immediate action.
Tragic death under such horrifying circumstances is, completely shocking.
Shark nets were reinforced along Sydney's beaches, and efforts to educate the public about shark behavior were ramped up. The tragedy also spurred scientific interest in understanding the habits of bull sharks, known for their ability to tolerate fresh water and their presence in estuaries and rivers. Hathaway's death highlighted the unpredictability of shark behavior and the thin line between human activity and wildlife interaction.
Most of us take notice and just stay out of the water till the sharks are gone, but it's generally, it's a lot more dangerous.
It also served as a catalyst for public awareness campaigns about water safety and shark conservation. While her passing was a devastating loss, it helped to foster a greater understanding of sharks, balancing fear with respect for their role in marine ecosystems. Alexander Crispin, 2013. On November 2, 2013, Alexander Crispin, a 35-year-old circus performer, tragically lost his life during a live tiger act in Sonora, Mexico. Crispin, a skilled trainer with years of experience, was performing a routine at the Suarez Circus when one of the tigers he worked with turned on him. The attack, witnessed by a horrified audience, underscored the inherent dangers of using wild animals in entertainment and sparked renewed debates about animal welfare in circuses. Crispin's act involved a close interaction with several Bengal tigers, showcasing their obedience and agility. That evening, as the performance progressed, one of the tigers became agitated. Without warning, the tiger lunged at Crispin, knocking him to the ground. The animal clamped its jaws around his neck and torso, inflicting fatal injuries before handlers could intervene. While circus staff managed to subdue the tiger with sticks and water, it was too late to save Crispin. He died shortly after being transported to a local hospital. The attack was captured on video by audience members, many of whom were children. The footage, widely circulated online, depicted the chaotic and terrifying scene. The incident left attendees traumatized and drew widespread media attention, with many questioning the ethics of keeping and training large predators for entertainment purposes. Crispin's death reignited discussions about the treatment of animals in circuses. Critics argued that forcing wild animals to perform unnatural acts in stressful environments not only endangered the animals but also posed significant risks to trainers and audiences. Animal rights organizations used the tragedy as a rallying cry for bans on exotic animals in circuses, emphasizing the physical and psychological toll these conditions take on animals. Ali Khan Samsudeen, 2006. Ali Khan Samsudeen, famously known as the Snake King of Malaysia, captivated audiences with his daring snake-handling stunts. Renowned for living with snakes for extended periods and performing high-risk acts, Ali was a celebrated figure in the world of exotic animal performance. However, his career came to a tragic end on December 1, 2006, when he succumbed to a king cobra bite during a performance in Penang, Malaysia. Ali Khan was no stranger to danger. Over the years, he had been bitten by venomous snakes multiple times, but had always survived, earning him a reputation for invincibility. His performances often involved handling cobras, pythons, and other reptiles, drawing large crowds eager to witness his fearless interactions. He even set world records, including one for living in a glass enclosure with hundreds of snakes for 12 days. During his final performance, Ali was attempting to break another record by handling several king cobras in a controlled setting. As he maneuvered one of the snakes, it suddenly struck, biting him on the arm. King cobras are among the most venomous snakes in the world, capable of delivering enough neurotoxin to kill an elephant. Despite his experience and familiarity with snakes, Ali misjudged the cobra's behavior in that moment. Initially, Ali downplayed the bite, continuing the performance and reassuring the audience that he was fine. However, within minutes, he began exhibiting symptoms of envenomation, including dizziness and difficulty breathing. He was rushed to a nearby hospital, but the venom's rapid effects overwhelmed his body, and he died shortly thereafter. Ali Khan's death sent shockwaves through the snake-handling community and raised questions about the ethics and safety of performing with dangerous animals. While Ali had spent his life educating people about snakes and advocating for their conservation, his tragic end highlighted the risks inherent in such close contact with deadly creatures. His passing also brought attention to the importance of proper safety measures and protocols when dealing with venomous animals. Experts argued that even experienced handlers should have access to anti-venom and emergency medical support during performances. Henry Bourse, 1964. Henry Bourse, an Australian filmmaker and diver, became a symbol of survival and resilience after surviving a terrifying great white shark attack in 1964. His remarkable recovery and subsequent documentary brought global attention to the risks of ocean exploration and the misunderstood nature of sharks. On November 8, 1964, Bourse was diving off Lady Julia Percy Island in Victoria, Australia, filming underwater footage with friends. The tranquil dive turned into a nightmare when a great white shark attacked him. The shark clamped down on Bourse's left leg, dragging him violently through the water. Despite the ferocity of the attack, Bourse managed to fend off the shark by punching it and breaking free, although he sustained severe injuries. His diving companions quickly pulled him onto their boat, where they applied makeshift tourniquets to stop the bleeding. Bourse was rushed to shore and later to a hospital, where doctors were forced to amputate his leg to save his life. Remarkably, Bourse's determination and optimism helped him recover physically and emotionally from the ordeal. In the years following the attack, Bourse used his experience to advocate for a better understanding of sharks and marine ecosystems. He produced a documentary titled Savage Shadows, recounting the attack and his journey to recovery. The film featured dramatic reenactments and real footage of his underwater adventures, captivating audiences and raising awareness about shark behavior. While the attack highlighted the dangers of diving, Bourse emphasized that sharks are not mindless killers but apex predators acting on instinct. His story contributed to the growing dialogue around shark conservation, encouraging the public to respect these creatures rather than fear them indiscriminately. Dawn Kelly, 1994. Dawn Kelly, an experienced zookeeper at the Memphis Zoo in Tennessee, tragically lost her life in 1994 after being attacked by a Sumatran tiger. Her death underscored the risks faced by those who work with large predators and highlighted the responsibilities of zookeepers in ensuring both human and animal safety. Kelly was a dedicated zookeeper with years of experience handling tigers. On the day of the incident, she was performing routine tasks in the tiger enclosure when the attack occurred. Reports suggest that the tiger, a male named Arya, managed to enter the area where Kelly was working, possibly due to a lapse in enclosure security protocols. The tiger attacked Kelly, inflicting fatal injuries before staff could intervene. The tragedy sent shockwaves through the Memphis Zoo and the wider zoological community. An investigation revealed that human error and inadequate safety measures were likely contributing factors. While the zoo followed industry-standard procedures, the incident prompted a reassessment of protocols to prevent future tragedies. These changes included implementing double-door entry systems, increasing staff training, and ensuring that animals were securely contained during maintenance.
Good boy. Good boy. Good boy.
Kelly's death also reignited discussions about the ethics of keeping large predators in captivity. Critics argued that even the most experienced handlers are at risk when working with animals whose instincts cannot be fully suppressed. Supporters, however, highlighted the importance of zoos in conservation and education, emphasizing that improved safety measures could mitigate risks. The incident brought attention to the complex responsibilities of zookeepers, who must balance animal care with maintaining public and staff safety. It also underscored the unpredictable nature of working with wildlife, where a single mistake can have fatal consequences. Catherine Chappell, 2015. Catherine Chappell, a 29-year-old film editor best known for her work on Game of Thrones, tragically lost her life on June 1, 2015, during a safari in South Africa. Her death, caused by a lioness attack, underscored the delicate balance between wildlife tourism and safety protocols. Sparking widespread discussion about best practices in safari tourism. Chappell, a passionate conservationist, was visiting the lion park near Johannesburg as part of her efforts to support wildlife preservation. The park offered visitors the chance to observe and photograph lions up close, with clear safety instructions to remain inside their vehicles and keep windows closed at all times. Chappell was reportedly in a car with her tour guide when the fatal incident occurred. According to witnesses and park officials, Chappell had rolled down her window to take photographs of a lioness nearby. The animal, likely startled or intrigued by the open window, lunged at her through the opening. In a swift and brutal attack, the lioness inflicted fatal injuries before the guide could intervene.
The lion then sort of lunged at the car and it bit the lady through the window.
Although emergency services were called, Chappell succumbed to her injuries at the scene. The incident shocked the public and raised questions about safety protocols in wildlife parks. While the Lion Park emphasized that clear instructions were provided to all visitors, critics argued that better enforcement of these rules was necessary to prevent such tragedies. Others pointed to the inherent risks of close encounters with wild animals, even in controlled environments. Chappell's death also reignited debates about the ethics of wildlife tourism. Some conservationists criticized the practice of habituating wild animals to human presence, arguing that it compromises their natural behavior and can lead to dangerous interactions. The tragedy highlighted the need for a balance between offering meaningful wildlife experiences and ensuring both human and animal safety. Tamayo Perry, 2024. Tamayo Perry, a celebrated Hawaiian surf legend and actor, tragically lost his life on January 7, 2024, in a rare shark attack off the coast of Oahu. Perry's death, a shocking event for Hawaii's close-knit surfing community, highlighted the ongoing, albeit rare, risks faced by ocean enthusiasts and the cultural significance of surfing in the region.
The best 25-year vacation of my life with him, and now it's over.
Perry, a lifelong surfer renowned for his mastery of big waves, was paddling out for a morning surf at a popular North Shore beach when the attack occurred. Witnesses reported seeing a large shark, later identified as a tiger shark, strike Perry while he was waiting for a wave. Despite immediate efforts by nearby surfers to rescue him and bring him to shore, Perry suffered fatal injuries to his leg, causing significant blood loss. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Shark attacks in Hawaii, while rare, are not unheard of, with tiger sharks responsible for the majority of incidents. Perry's death marked the first fatal shark attack in the area in years, reigniting debates about ocean safety and shark-human interactions. Experts noted that while shark attacks are exceedingly uncommon, the ocean remains a wild and unpredictable environment. Perry's passing sent waves of grief through the Hawaiian surfing community, where he was a beloved figure. Known for his humility and dedication to mentoring young surfers, Perry had a lasting impact on the sports culture in Hawaii. His death prompted tributes from surfers and celebrities alike.
There's nothing out of the ordinary that would indicate something bad would happen to him versus anybody else.
Many of whom highlighted his role in promoting the spirit of aloha through his surfing and acting. The incident also renewed discussions about safety measures for surfers, such as the use of shark deterrent technology and increased awareness of shark behavior. While some called for stricter monitoring or culling of sharks, many in Hawaii emphasized coexistence and respect for marine life, reflecting the state's deep connection to the ocean.